Hello, everyone. How are you? A very good afternoon, good morning, good evening to the people who are in the different parts of the world. Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon, good morning, good evening once again, if you may not hear me. So just type a quick hi so that I can get to know that everyone is there with me. Yes. So I welcome all of you on behalf of the research graduate to the another interesting webinar wherein we will be talking about a review article writing. All right. So in that, to begin with, let me tell you about what is basically research graduate is, so that why I'm telling you about research graduate is because if anybody of you is interested in to take out any of the services which research graduate offers. So uh, all of you are many of you must be um, the research scholars or the academicians, or in any of the capacity you must be associated in the research fraternity. So if you are associated in the research domain and you would like to get yourself accomplished with the research work, so you may get in touch with research graduate, be it topic selection, be it proposal writing, your statistical analysis, the dissertation writing, or proofreading, editing, any sort of services which you like to have. Research graduate is a one stop solution for you all. So this is about research graduate, and when it comes to me, myself, Dr. Renu Mishra, I am based in Dubai and I'm associated with the research graduate as one of their expert. And I am a management educationist, researcher, a learner, and a corporate trainer as well. If you want to get in touch with research graduate, these are the following details. You may get in touch with the team from the following email ID or the numbers given in front of you, or you can also browse us on the given website. Now, the structure of the webinar goes like that. It'll be a 90 minutes or so presentation, so it's not like it may stretch beyond that also. It's okay. And the question and answer will be well taken care of. Your PPTs will be given to you, the PPTs which I'll be taking care in the in the session, during the session. And the recordings will be given to you. The certificate will be given to you, provided uh, the registered email ID with which you have registered is correct, because everything will be delivered to you on that registered email ID only. Okay, as far as the quality of the video is concerned, I request you all to please increase the video quality of YouTube to 720p so that you can have a better quality experience. All right. Yes. And just in case you still encounter any problem, there might be an issue with your internet. So please don't panic that PPT is not clear or something like that is happening with you. Uh, because in any which ways, the recordings and the PPTs are going to get in your email box. All right. So please don't panic that PPT is not clear, PPT is not clear, PPT is not clear. I'm just telling you in advance. All right. So let's get started with the session today. Okay. So the first is I would like to talk about research publications. I mean, yes, being a research scholar myself, and all of you must be knowing it very well that research publications are one such area wherein we scholars always get panic about that, how to get these publications done, how to get these publications done, where to get them done. That's another area. How to get the right kind of paper, and how to get that paper into good shape, and how to write that paper so that it get published in every concern. So this research publication, whenever it hits to your mind, it gives us nightmare sometimes. Yes, because you need to upgrade your CV, you need to get your promotions, and more so ever, everybody is talking about these days publication, how many publications you have, how many publications you have, how many papers you have published, how many papers you have presented in conferences, and so on. So publications is something which the entire research fraternity is talking about. So let's understand what exactly research publication is. Okay. So basically, when we talk about research publication, it is any sort of artifact. When we say artifact, it is any sort of material, or when I say material, it is any sort of documented material, documented artifact, documented form, piece of information which has passed peer review and is in a proper structural alignment. Okay, so when you are saying research publications, so research words itself says that you have dwell upon a particular topic. Okay, now why I'm focusing on structural alignment here, please focus that all the scholars here, particularly, please pay attention, even academicians also, that many a times I have seen, because I serve on the review board of quite a couple of journals. So if you are writing in general, let's say you are writing in general, and you say that I will first write and then I will publish, it's okay, it's absolutely okay. You may align the structure later, so you may follow a yeah, I'm so sorry, there was a network glitch. So if you are writing a paper, okay, and you are not aiming any particular journal, I'm not talking about any domain, okay, you may write in a particular, in a standard format, that also we will talk about, the content we will talk about. But if you are aiming any particular journal, let's say you are aiming any Scopus Index or any ABDC or any Web of Science, so please make sure, if you are aiming for any particular journal in which you would like to get your paper published, or in which you would like to get your research published, so since the beginning of that paper, since the beginning of that study, align the structure of that study according to the structural requirement of that journal. Okay, why? Because the structural environment, see, whenever any paper come to us for review, the first thing which we see is that has it been aligned with the structural requirements of the journal or not. So just to cut short the time which you may spend later, do it since the beginning of your, so you have collected all, you have done the literature review, data collection, analysis, everything is done, so do it according to the structural requirement of that journal. Now if you are doing it in the general, so like you will select the journal later on, that's another thing. All right, now coming back to what are research publications, so I hope you have understood that any research material which has peer review, like peer review, that anybody who has reviewed your work, like critically given feedback on it, Okay, so review need not to be negative only. Okay, now for example, if I review, when I review my any paper which comes to us, so generally a couple of things, like we look for methodology. Like for example, if anybody is talking about a relationship in the title, analyzing a relationship of couple of factors or variables, so I straight away go back to the objectives of the paper, that what is being written in the title, is it aligned with the objective of the study or not? That in the title you're looking for the relationship or cause and effect or influence, what are the objectives of the study? And then I move to the methodology. So even if I'm not looking at the word by word or line by line, majorly looking these three aspects give me the idea of right methodology followed or not. So everybody has the different approach of reviewing paper. So I'm just giving you an idea that many a time scholars, when they finalize their methodology, or when they finalize their objective or finalize their title, probably there are different times. So always establish a link with your title, your objectives, your methodology. Okay, just there has to be a synchronization in all these three. Okay, all right, let's move on now. Needless to say that why do we do research publications? It's quite obvious that why do we do research publication, that definitely you need to earn money. And now I'm not saying that earn money, it's quite straightforward, because you need to have promotions, you need to get scholarships, because if somebody is in India, in particularly Indian context, I'm saying, somebody has cleared net, is GRF. In order to become senior research fellow, you need to show certain paper publications or some postdoctoral researches you want to go. So certain sort of, based on the depend upon your discipline in which you are doing your research, you need to have some publications also. You need to network. For that also you need to have some publications, because when you connect with other researchers, obviously when you write with people, when you write with other people, you connect with them. Okay, so that also helps you in networking, and obviously you become determined, like I want to do research, I want to do research. But uh, at present, the one thing I'm noticing, that's not in the slides. One thing I'm noticing, that a very sad state of research is that I am finding many scholars falling in the trap of some gray journals, or you can say that in easy language, if I say that some journals, they charge you a heavy amount, claiming that their indexing is really good. Now, please make sure that whenever you are going for an index journal which is claimed by the journal, that we are so and so index journal, I'm not naming any particular journal or any indexing, please go and check the indexing of the journals on the journal's website, or whatever index they are claiming to be, okay, source they are claiming to be. Because they might be indexed in a particular year, but whether they are continuing till date or not, it's very important, right? There is a very good question from Mr. Jayaprakash. Is it required to be unique topic? See, uniqueness of the topic is not mandatory all the time. However, the topic should be uh, not repetitive from others. That's important. It should not be a very common topic. All right. Coming back to the indexing, just in order to have increased number of publication to be shown in your CVs. Like many times I've seen that 12 papers in a year, 13 papers in a year. How is it possible? If you are publishing good quality papers which needs at least 3 to 4 5 months, and good journals they take 4 to 5 months to review your paper. 12 13 paper, producing 12 13 papers is, I mean, you can very well imagine the quality of the papers. Plus, if you are paying to get your papers published, which is okay. I mean, I'm not against of paying for your paper publication, but before paying or before being approached by any journal, because these days it has become a business that journals are approaching you that publish with us and we are so and so indexed. Make sure it's not only about the money you are spending, it's also about that you are investing your research. Once it is published to any XYZ journal, you will not be able to publish it anywhere else. So please make sure that indexing is important and you double check it. Scopus Index, ABDC, Web of Science, wherever your discipline, indexing is important. Listing in short term, indexing, listing in easy language, I'm telling you. Okay? Now coming back. This is your research cycle. Okay, this is something like research cycle looks like. So it begins with where you want to do the research. Okay, any discipline, wherever your professional expertise, your student expertise, your study expertise, it depends upon where you would like to do your research. It starts with that. Okay, then you conduct your research study, you carry on your research study, you conduct your data analysis, and you go on with your findings and everything, you go on, and then you publish your research result. And this is very important, this is very important. See, after this entire crux of activities which takes time, which is your hard work, okay, so it's very important that you choose a good place to publish your work. Okay, your research should be published in an authenticated place. Okay, so this research cycle, it's a, I would say that it's a of course it's a time consuming process, but it's a very it's a very heart and soul kind of investment, right, where a researcher invest his or her heart and soul. Okay, so please be very wise, please take your time to decide, and if you are not sure, please take your supervisor's opinion, please take your this thing, your colleagues who are well experienced in publishing, please take any seniors guidance or opinion to make sure that wherever you are publishing your work is authentic. Okay, okay, I'll be taking all these questions by the end of the session, because if I'll start taking the questions now, the session will be delayed. Okay, so I request all of you, and I very well respect the questions and the queries you have. Please, I request all of you to make a note of your questions. We will be having a very detailed question and answers round once we are done with the presentations. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I'll be dealing with all the questions. Okay, now we have some couple of research publications, where you can get your, type of research publications, which generally we might not aware of. But however, being a research scholar, you are mainly concerns about this and this and this. So research paper, conference proceedings, case studies, and when it comes to a medical background or biotechnology, for clinical trials also, we'll take all of them one by one. So when you talk about research paper, so it's a very set, um, what do you call, a content of or structure of a research paper, and this content or the structure of research paper can be followed by the research scholar of any domain. Just here and there, deviation is okay, but it can be followed by any domain. Okay, so there is this kind of structure can be followed by any research scholar. So this is basically a standard structure which I was telling you that you may follow for your research paper. Okay, now comes short communication. Now short communication, as the name itself suggests, they're very precise. When probably you do not have much data, and but you can't write a complete research paper, but you can write a shorter than an article. So basically they are called as short communication, which you say that you must have come across some sort of magazines, they business magazines or biotechnology magazines, they publish these short magazines, short communications. Then comes conference proceedings. Now conference proceedings, basically these are the proceedings which are being published after your conference is being done. So basically whatever has been they are being happened in the conference, or the major themes of the conference, or the abstracts presented in the conference, they are being published in the conference proceedings. Okay, they are not the research paper, so do not confuse the conference proceedings with the research papers. All right. Okay. Case study and clinical trials. Clinical trials are basically associated with the medical fields or medical practitioners or medical researcher. Case study, basically, I would like to give your attention here, are primarily concerned with the, let's say, when you use, when you are focusing on one or two organizations or one or two regions. So basically, when your focus, when your attention is organization specific, region specific, okay, then it becomes case study. All right. Now, another type of publication is perspective opinion commentary. No, it is needless to say that what is perspective, what is commentary, what is opinion. Now here basically what is main important thing is that I think my internet is giving me some trouble, that's why the camera is going off. So basically perspective are generally 1500 or 2000 words, and when you talk about, here you're talking about one particular topic is being there, and the author's perspective is being reflected. In opinion also, author, what author thinks, definitely based on the logical reasoning given in the literature, this been supported. Opinions are generally short articles, they are not that lengthy. Okay, in which pros and cons of both the aspects are being given. You might find these kind of articles on LinkedIn these days. You might find these things on LinkedIn, they are they are quite popularly being quoted there. Commentaries are basically wherein you give your criticism or critically feedback for your paper or your book or any report. Your critical opinion, I say, your critical opinion for any book or any paper or any report, that is commentary. Okay. All right. Now comes book reviews. Now book reviews, they are also being published in many journals, especially the ones, especially book reviews are being given by the ones, those who are into academics and the ones who are into teaching. When I say academics, the ones who are teachers, academicians. Okay. So if you have gone through any recent book, okay, and you would like to give your opinion on that, if you would like to give your feedback on that, so this basically review is helpful for the people who are, who might be a future audience for that book. Now, many of you must be thinking that we have heard that research publication, when it comes to research publication, only papers or only conferences, they are important. No, even book reviews are also being counted very valuable for your CVs. Yes, yes, absolutely. How many books you have reviewed? Because that means when you have reviewed your book, that means in order to review that book, you have gone through that book, you have read that book. So reviewing that book shows that how well read you are. Okay. Review article is the next form of research publication. Obviously article is a precise form. This is generally lengthwise is shorter than a paper, so it is a precise form on written on a particular topic. And generally, when you talk about review article, in this review article means you are reviewing the previous studies. So what previous means? Literature. Literature is any form of documented material related to your topic. I will take literature in coming slides in detail. So, review article means an article which you have written on the basis of your understanding of previously written papers. What have you understand out of them? So let's say I have given you 5 papers and I tell them, based on your understanding, write a paper. So based on those findings, how the authors have written, how the authors have found, based on the variables, based on the literature, uh, based on uh, you know the approach adopted by the author of those 5 studies which I have given you, you are presenting your own observation. You're presenting your own perspective in those articles. Okay. Mr. Arul, if you have any questions, please pose the questions clearly. If you're not finding the content in depth, you are most than welcome to pose the questions. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the review article. Now, we just spoken about. Let's first understand review an article. Now, whenever you are coming across a new word, okay, whenever you come across a new word, if you think that this is new for me and I am not able to understand this word, okay, I'm getting this query again, and I am so sorry. I'm taking this. Please tell oil and fat research. My expertise is not particularly in oil and fat research. If you have any particular question related to that, please feel free to type that. I would suggest that please note down your question in your notepad. Once I'm done with the presentation, then we'll deal with the questions. Is that okay? Thank you so much, Maple. Yeah. Coming back to review article, I'm not dealing with what written on the slide. I'm trying to give you one tip or trick, whatever you may understand. Whenever you come across any new content or new word terminology, basically, and if you're not able to explain it to somebody or you're not able to understand it yourself, what do you do? Go with the English meaning of it. Go with the literal meaning of that word in English. For instance, let's take review article. Now, article, all of you understand. Okay? You all understand an article. It's a piece of write up. How that article is being written? On the basis of review. Now, what is review? Let me further break it. Review. The word is being made like review. That means viewing again. Viewing again what? Previous studies. Okay, so now in short, if I make you understand what is review article, review article is that piece of article, is that piece of paper, oh sorry, that form of research paper which you produces by synthesizing, by observing, by understanding, by reviewing the results of previous studies. This is review article. Okay, that's it. Now the question comes, research article. Now again, same formula you apply. The paper which you are writing, the article which you are writing, on the basis of the research conducted by you. Okay, I don't think so now there'll be any confusion in future. So review article is basically, it's not just that you just copy the content from previous researches. No, then you are inviting a lot of plagiarism, which is a big no. Okay, that is not supposed to be done. Rather, you are reviewing previous studies and giving your own perspective in that. Okay, that is review article. All right, move ahead. So that's what I said. When you summarizes and assess, when I say assess, that means your own feedback is associated. Okay, when your own analysis is associated, your when you're like, if you take out, if you are reviewing one paper wherein correlation is being used, so your justification is being given why this paper has used correlation, or after establishing a relationship between independent and dependent variables, thus it has been justified that correlation methodology, or the usage of correlation is found to be justified. This kind of logical reasoning you give in your review article on, after reviewing the literature of the, now this is just the review, or this is just the logical reasoning which I have given the example for the methodology of one. You may give for the you may give for the literature review of, so also been chosen by the previous researchers. Okay, now why we conduct review article is basically, review articles, they help you to, in a simple language, they help you to find that what all is happening in your field as of now. Now all those researchers, all those phd scholars, especially, I'm giving you suggestions to them, that please, you know keep a thorough checkup, a thorough check, keep a strong eye on the review articles of the related themes or the related topics of your field. Why? Because you always, will get in touch of the literature of your domain, because review articles take the latest literature. What's happening in that domain will be showcased in that. So you will get an idea that what kind of movement is happening in the literature of my domain. Okay, all right, so let's move ahead. Now let's further talking about the review article. As I said, that what is happening in the current state of knowledge, it gives you the idea. Now, why it is important for you to know that what is happening in the current state of knowledge, it's important for you because, see, let's say you are writing a paper. Okay, it's very important for you to let your audience know, because you are writing your paper not for yourself, for others to read, to let your audience know that what has happened through your literature, right? What you has collected from your data. So what has happened through your literature should be latest. It should not be that your audience already know that the author has not incorporated the most recent data. They missed it. They have not incorporated. So the literature, in my opinion, that's my personal opinion, that literature, be it you're writing a research paper, be it you're writing a research thesis or dissertation, literature does not leaves your hand till the time you publish your paper or till the time you finish your study. You need to go back to your literature again and again, either to update it, either to get in touch with it, either to find the right kind of variable. Okay, fine, let me go back to my literature, what I have written it, or let me update my literature. So this is that aspect of digitization which knocks you again and again. So you need to go back to it, or it come back to you again and again. Okay, so it tells you that what is happening right now. Okay, so what you can see on your screen is that what is the types of review articles are there. Let's take one by one. Now first is your traditional literature review. So as the name itself suggests, and this particular kind of trick, as I told you, can be applicable to many. I think I personally has done into my, when I was a student. I'm still a student. I consider myself a student only. I learn from you guys and from my students, from my classes also. And I give this trick to my students also, that whenever you think that I'm stuck somewhere, go by the English meaning of it. So traditional literature review, the name itself suggests a lot, that the way of reviewing a literature traditionally, you reverse the word, right? So a comprehensive overview of a topic. Okay, in which we are identifying the literature gaps. That's what the role of literature review is. No, we are the main role of reviewing literature is to identify the gaps, what has not happened. This is what is happening in traditional literature review. Okay, now comes to scoping reviews. Scoping reviews is some similar to systematic reviews also. However, there is no limit that you may use these many literature, these many resources. Basically, you need to find that whatever material, whatever topic, whatever literature is being used in that. So basically the purpose is to cover the scope, or the widened scope of that review. So here your scope of review is quite wide in scope of review. Okay, now next is your systematic reviews. So basically systematic review is, wherein you have, first of all, in systematic review you have certain sort of research protocols. Now when I say research protocols, so basically you collect your empirical evidences. Now empirical evidences is you collect your certain searches, you relevant studies to relate it to your topic, and then you filter them. I use the word filter them. You filter them on the basis of those research protocols, like inclusion and exclusion criteria. Every study can't be a part. So, whatever study will be a part of your systematic review, on the basis of those inclusion criteria. The ones which will not be the part of the study, they will not be the part of the study on the basis of the exclusion criteria. Okay, and these criteria we form on the basis of research protocols. Okay, so research protocols we make so that we come out of the inclusion and exclusion criteria. So in systematic review what we do is we collect the empirical evidences, we collect the literature, wherein we have certain research questions. So in this systematic review we have research questions which helps us to define our research protocols, on the basis of which we define our inclusion and exclusion criteria, which helps us to filter our studies which to go for and with which not to go for. So here in systematic reviews, we are progressing with certain research questions to answer. Okay, all right. Then comes another type of review article, that is a meta-analysis. Meta-analysis basically is, I call it a sibling of systematic review. It's a subset. And in easy language, if I need to make my student understand, I said that they both are siblings. And meta-analysis is a quite complicated sibling of systematic review. So generally what we have is we have two siblings or three siblings. One sibling is quite complicated, so meta-analysis one such sibling of complicated sibling of systematic review. Why complicated? Because statistical analysis for many journal, many scholars, statistical analysis for many scholars, they find it quite difficult. Which test to employ, how to do it on SPSS, and you know, I have seen. I mean, this is basically quite a area where people find it difficult, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. Please, there's nothing to be ashamed of, because I always say that if you are not a good statistician, that does not make you a bad researcher. Okay, you can always work on your stats. You can always work on your how you be good at SPSS, how you good at be applying a test. So don't consider that I'm not good at methodology part, so that makes me a bad researcher. Please don't think so. That's just a motivational tip I wanted to go give you to all researchers here, because this is the common thing I have seen in many researchers, that they think that I'm not able to do stats, I'm not able to do research. This is not the fact. You can always be better, you can always improve yourself. So meta analysis basically is one um, subset of systematic review wherein you are using that statistical software. So herein what you are doing is you are focusing on that in systematic reviews. You are talking about the literatures, right? In meta-analysis, you are focusing on the methodological aspect of that literature. Okay, how the sample size, the differences in the various studies of sample sizes, the various tests they have employed, the comparison between the findings of the various studies. And you may go ahead with the meta-analysis even with two studies also. So let's say for example you wanted to conduct a meta-analysis between with two studies, so you can compare the sample size of two studies with their results, go on difference between the two, the tests they have conducted, and so on. Same topic, two different studies, two way of conducting the studies, two different way of conducting the studies, and you can compare their findings. Okay, then moving on to another type of review, that is Cochrane reviews. Basically, these are those systematic reviews, they have written in very specific manner. And this specific manner, when I say that, they get this protocol, they get this specific manner from Cochrane handbook. Okay, so this is particularly for those people who are into healthcare and who are into policies. Okay, so this is, don't get confused that are we doing this, are we doing, no, this is basically primarily for the ones who are coming from the healthcare. And why we include this in the webinar, because we are dealing with a wide diverse audience, so it should suit for the needs of everyone. Okay, all right. Now there's a quick comparative review between scoping and systematic review. So research questions are quite broad in scoping review, and in systematic review we have quite focused one. Okay, and in scoping you can develop the inclusion exclusion criteria after. In systematic you can develop it prior. Okay, so this is the difference between scoping and systematic, which you can refer to it later, since we have understood scoping and systematic review in detail. Okay, okay, so let's move on to another type of review articles, rapid reviews. Rapid reviews, as the name suggests, I don't think so you need, you must be, all of you must be very good in understanding this trick. Rapid reviews, as the name suggests, quick publications. Okay, now they are very helpful for the people, and they are published for the people who are into policy making, because they want some instant material for the decisions making, and they are quite concise in their structure. Then comes umbrella reviews. Umbrella reviews are the review of review. What you have reviewed, I'll review that. Okay, multiple reviews, kind of. Okay, so if you have reviewed, if you have written a paper, I'll review that, give the strength and weaknesses. Like for example, the particular author has not analysis have not presented the analysis on the perspective of the justification of the methodology chosen by the author. So review of review is umbrella review. Okay. Now let's talk about a broad outline, or rather I should say that a common outline of review article writing. Okay, now a structural outline. Now when I was starting this session, I told you that if you are aiming any particular journal, then obviously you should type, or you should write according to that journal, no doubt about it, without giving a second thought. If you are particularly willing to write for a particular journal, if you are aiming any particular journal, then do write according to that journal only. That I don't want to publish my paper anywhere else, then there is no need to look for or there is no need to get deviated from any structural alignment. However, if you are yet to decide the right place to get your paper published, then this is the one, or this is a general overview of review article writing. Okay, you do your literature review, you develop a topic. Okay, or it can be wise, it can be develop a topic, can be come at a first also. It is up to your discretion. Let's say for example, many a time you are already decided that this is something which I want to work on, or this is something which I'm interested in. So it is up to your discretion. It is up to researchers' discretion. Then you move ahead with literature, keywords. Now, this is a suggestion which I'm giving to all of you, that do not take keywords lightly. Right. Why? I'll tell you. Whenever you submit your paper or your abstract, first you give the abstract for the to the journal, no? They ask you to 3 to 6 or 3 to 5 keywords. And many a times I've seen that students or scholars, they just randomly select the keywords without even giving a thought that whether these keywords are being represented by the abstract or not. Now, whatever keywords you will be giving to the journal. And if in future your paper get selected for the publication and that comes into process, those keywords will be useful for your paper to get highlighted in the search process by other authors. If let's say you have a paper published in any journal and I am working on the same domain, what I will do is I will search the relevant literature based on my keywords. And if you have not given the right kind of keywords to the journal while publication or during the time of publication, your paper will never come into the search. And many a time the journals return the abstract based on the wrong keywords or non-matching keywords. So please pay attention that you give right keywords. Okay, develop an idea, organize literature, proper structure also should be there, which I'll be telling you. Develop a framework for review draft, like structural alignment, Properly edited, corrected. Properly edited, corrected means spelling mistake, grammatical errors should not be there. I mean, in review process we do check it, and it feels painful that researcher has done a lot of work and just for grammatical error. Because see, if a journal is sending a paper for me to review, the journal has already taken 2 months. Now the editor is sending to me, I will also take 15, 20, 30 days. There are no major mistakes, just grammatical errors, spelling mistakes. Why to waste those 30 days just to remove those is mr wrong spellings? Do not commit those mistakes in the first hand, right? And it will speed up your publication process. If your paper is error free in terms of spellings, in terms of grammar, definitely the reviewer will not take much time. Okay, all right. So this is your basically, how you can write your first article. So you can start with your literature survey. Your problem statement can be clearly stated. Problem statement should be clearly reflected when it comes to your what exactly you would like to highlight, what exactly you are focusing on. That should come out. And this problem statement is being verified by reviewer like us through your project, through your research objective. Many a times there is a well defined research problem statement, but it has not been aligned with the research objectives. There is a mismatch. Focus on that area while if any one of you is writing. Okay, so please focus on that area, that uh, there is an alignment with problem statement, objectives, and methodology, and all that stuff. Okay, now comes literature review, which is one of the very important aspect in your review article, because the entire foundation of a review article is based on literature review. Again, let's break this word literature review or review of literature. People understand it as one term, however, it is a collection of terms. Literature review is basically made up of two words. Literature means any piece of or any information which is in documented form and it is related to your domain. All right, any related material, related as in related to your domain, and it is in documented form, that is literature. Your case studies, your papers, your articles, your books, your newspaper articles, when you are reviewing it. Now, reviewing does not means copying it. Please, not even in your research paper, not even in your dissertation, does not means review of literature chapter or review of literature section, does not means that you need to copy it. No, you need to review it. So when you are reviewing it, you are critically evaluating it. You are telling your own interpretation, what you have understood, how that piece of work. Now, with that I mean literature. Okay, with that I mean literature fits with your study, because that author has written that work keeping his or her perspective in mind. Now, how that literature fits into your study at present context. Now, another piece of information, rather another tip I would like to give, that needless to say, depending upon topic to topic, there are certain topics which requires to have you mm, pretty old literature, wherein you are taking care of some models or some literature, right? That is okay. However, the suggestion is to be focused on recent literature. Now, when I say recent, when I what I mean is 10 to 12 years of literature. Okay? Do not go to quite old literature. Okay? Why? There is again a reason for it, because students don't understand this thing, that there are a lot of, especially for the management studies, especially for the management studies, there are a lot of things happening in corporate world, and even in other domains also. The literature should be recent. Why? Because it gives you a logical reasoning of whatever happening in today's world. Now, as I told you, that there are topics and there are domains which demands you to focus on literature which is not recent. Like if you want to go for evolutionary evidences, like you would like to go for historical evidence, in that it is absolutely okay to trace down or to go back to the old literature. It is okay. Okay, but just focusing on old literature is not suggestive. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. All right. Now, this is the importance of literature review. Now, sad state of literature review chapter is that it is the most ignored one. Or another thing is that people or the scholars, academicians, we spend a lot of time on literature review. We stretch literature review till as if there is no end to it. Don't do that. I'll just enlarge the slide. Just listen to me once. Just piece of advice I'm giving to, especially to the people who are doing PhDs. Just don't linger on the time duration of literature review, because there is no end to it. That's for sure. You have a specific time duration for your PhD. Please wisely divide your time, or please widely concentrate your time, or dedicate your time for your PhD literature review. That how much time I need to give my literature, because it is not going to happen that once you are finished with your review chapter, you're not going to come back to it. As I told you, definitely you need to refer back to it, you need to add to it in the later stages also. But whatever you are reviewing, document it side by side, because later on it becomes very difficult. But do not just get attached to your literature review for a longer period of time, because then you lose time for your data collection analysis. It's just that a wise uh, division of time management for your literature review is very important. And depending upon the nature of your study, how many reviews should be done. Now, literature review does not mean that you have selected 1,000 studies or 800 studies, but how many would be included in your thesis? That depends. Not all 800 or 700 or 600 would be beneficial or are deemed to be fit in your study. No. Okay, and that is why we review that what all studies are there to be fitted in our study, like 100, 125, 100, sometimes less than 100 also, sometimes more than 150 also. Depends upon nature of your topic, how many studies you will be incorporating into your thesis. Okay, so basically literature review gives you an idea about research gaps, what's happening in your research area, and what needs to be presented in future. Okay, and how your research topic fits into present literature. Very important. Research methodology, research gaps, research methodology, research stat, everything comes later. The identification of right kind of variables, all this comes from here only. If this is done well, all sorted. Okay, now what you can do, how you can approach for literature review. Your topic should be widely chosen, definitely. What are your key questions? What do you want to do in your topic? What do you want to look for? What are your search criteria? Like, This is what I want to look for. Like if I want to look for association between employee engagement and satisfaction, or the factor of change management. So what are my search criteria? Do I want to look for a particular author or particular times frame, or any particular regional study, or any methodology I want to focus on? What relevance of the papers? Definitely. What kind of literature? You need to have focused on the relevance also. Identification of appropriate research material, like properly chosen research papers, and then collection of papers. Like, no, don't just fill in your desktop, save control as control. Don't just do that crime with your PhD. Don't. Make proper folders, subfolders. Okay, fine. This folder is dedicated to this literature, belongs to this variables. This folder is dedicated to this association of variables. This is to this topic, this is to this subtopic. With this you'll be able to manage your literature. Otherwise, I have seen people juggling with their literature. They have collected thorough literature, but it becomes difficult for them when they are required to go back to their literature. Don't do that crime with yourself. Okay? All right. Now, these are the different sources of literature which can be used. The primary literature is your original research papers, which you write on the basis of the primary data, or your dissertations, your technical reports, your conference proceedings, which are based on the primary data, which are written. And then your secondary literature is basically your books, your review articles. These are the secondary sources. Tertiary literature is your textbooks, your encyclopedias, your handbooks. This is your tertiary literature. Please, another source of information, another piece of information I would like to give here is, do not consider Wikipedia as a source of uh, what I say that literature. Please, why I'm saying so this, because this is not an authentication one. Now, please, whatever source of literature you are using, check the authentication. How you can check it? Where it is being published, who is the author, source of author also you might go for, and mm, which publication house it has been published, then open source or peer reviewed journal, which kind of book it is. All these, where are there, which year it has been, and it is a very old source of literature, or it is recent. If it's recent, then it is how it is relevant to the current contextual information which is going on in the domain and all that stuff. Okay, so please, whenever you review a particular literature, make sure it is authenticated. Now, when you talk about searching strategy with any literature, so if you're talking about searching, so your topic should be very much defined. What happen is, we begin with finding literature, we are in a hurry. Okay, we are in a hurry that we need to begin finding the literature. You should be very clear about the topic. Okay, your boundary of literature, please, it's a sincere request to all the scholars, especially who are working on their PhD. You need to know the boundary of your search. For that, your keyword should be defined, your limitation should be there. If I am working on employee engagement and employee motivation, so I need to know employee engagement, employee motivation. I am not going to bothered about anything which has employee but nothing related to engagement and motivation. So this way I'm setting my limitations. Otherwise, the whole world is mine. There will be no end to my literature. So being a student, being a scholar, it's in your hand to set your limitation. And as I told you, set a time frame. PhD is not just literature. Okay. How to read it then? How to read it? I will share the way I do it, that I highlight the content which I would like to focus on. Okay. The findings, the methodology, and I summarize it, tabular form. Okay. I make the tabular form. Okay. For example, let's say I am going through a study at present. I'm reading a paper, I'm reviewing a paper, for example. I'm actually reviewing a paper, I cannot reveal the name of it. The paper is on technology change management, in which the attitudinal aspect of the employees is being focused. Okay. So in that, I'm not telling you from the review perspective, I'm telling you from the literature perspective, so focus on that. I made a table. So first table is of the author. Okay. Then I made the variables. Okay. The what are the common variables in that? Then the findings one. Okay. If I want to focus on the methodology also. Okay. Then on the aspect of the what all are the justification which I want to need to know in my literature review. So in this tabular form, whenever I need to go back again to my literature, I can see just this tabular, or I can just nowadays what happen is you don't go with the paper form of the literature review, and you may use various software also in order to summarize your literature. There are various Menlays, Tarot. You can, you can take help of these software also, so that you can get helped with your literature. Okay. So they summarize your work. Now comes your literature review component. I told you what should be added with your literature review. How your literature or structure should look like. Basically, your literature review, the structure of literature review should be divided into three sections. Okay. Introduction, main body, and conclusion. Now remember, this is the chapter, or this is the section which contributes maximum to the plagiarism. So make sure that you're not just copying the content. Okay. So when you are dividing your literature review in the three section, the first is introduction. In introduction, you are basically making the reader aware about your topic. Okay. Like, what is your topic is about, so that you are just familiarizing the author perspective, familiarizing the reviewer, what he or she can expect from the literature. And that is, from all this information is being passed from the previous studies. Then comes main body. In main body, you will add all the major theories or the models, if you have any, the strength or the weaknesses of previous studies related to your topic. Definitely this will have in your main body. Now in the conclusion part, that is the last one, it will be your own interpretations, your implications of the various studies, and here also you will give the research gap which you have found out from the literature which you have reviewed. So generally you may go for the, and here you will go for that, on the basis of the analysis, the review of the various literature in the study suggests this. So you are basically presenting your own interpretation as well. Okay. Okay. Now this is basically the steps for literature review, how you may go for. So you have a topic, you have literature, you have, you need to develop an argument that what do you want to actually, you would like to search for, what are actually aim for your literature, then serve it, then critic. Now when you say that critic the literature, that means here you are giving your own interpretation. That's why we say that review. Okay, and then write it. These are the various sources of literature review. So these are different books you may go for. I've given some examples also, some reference materials. Again, I'm saying, please, Wikipedia is not a source of literature review. Okay, so whatever sources I have given, these are the open sources for which you need not to have any kind of registration or money needs to be given. Okay, so these are some couple of resources or sources for your literature review. Okay, okay, now comes the point where you need to write your review article. Topic selection, your main important aspect. Topic selection. Okay, if you are aiming for a particular journal, a suggestion I'm giving you, if you are aiming a particular journal, then write according to the theme of that journal, that what kind of papers, what kind of theme that generally that journal is publishing. It's not like that you are writing anything and then you are saying that the journal is not accepting my paper. It's not like that. Okay, if you are aiming any particular journal, any, it depends upon your interest. If you're aiming any particular journal, then go to the site of that journal, look that what kind of themes, what kind of paper they publish, and then write accordingly. Now if there is no particular journal in your mind and you are just writing, then according to your paper theme, look the right journal. So vice versa you may do. Topic selection can be on the basis of your interest. If you are a PhD scholar, automatically the topic comes from your PhD dissertation. Okay. Your research strategy, how you'd like to conduct your research, your content, your introduction, how will you write it, your main body of review, you will discuss the results, your conclusion, and your references. So basically, this is the way you follow the pattern or your trend to write your review article. So when you're doing a systematic review, these are the stages. Okay, now as I told you, you first of all you develop a research protocol, protocol. Now this protocol will help you to basically come out with these studies which you will go on with on the basis of the inclusion and exclusion criterias. Now, inclusion criterias are those criterias on the basis of which your studies, whatever studies, past literature study, you'll be including to review. Exclusion criteria is vice versa. Okay, so let's say for example I'm planning to conduct a study in UAE, so in which one of my inclusion criteria is any study which has been conducted in Dubai, and one of my exclusion criteria is any study conducted in Ajman. So on the basis of these on the basis of this criterias, I'll be filtering out my studies, and then once this is done, I'll review my studies, and then I'll prepare my report, I'll prepare my review paper. Okay, this is again the stages of systematic review. In systematic review, please be very sure of right kind of research questions. So if you have strategically selected research questions, your research questions are strategically selected, right kind of research questions are selected, your research protocol depends on that. Okay, what kind of paper will be studied, what kind of paper will be reviewed, that depends upon this protocol, and this depends upon this. So please focus on this, which impacts this. Okay, now again, the process of writing systematic review. When you have a well defined research question, you have proper review protocol, research literature research, abstract, and then you move on with the report writing as well. One thing I would like to focus on, that please do not worry about that how many papers to be reviewed in systematic review. Basically, you may do the review in, let's say for example, you got along with the you found 150 papers, and out of the filtration and out of the inclusion and exclusion criteria you come up with 77. That's okay, fine, right? So there is no minimum or like maximum limit for it. Okay. And also, when you are sending for any publication, please just don't write the abstract of the paper in a hurry, because the acceptance and the rejection of the paper depends primarily on the way you have written the abstract. So it's very important that you pay full attention on the abstract, the way you have written the abstract. Okay. Now, there are some important steps for writing the review article. Definitely, your topic should be identified very well and narrow down. Don't see, if you will take, why we suggest, we as in the faculty suggest you to take a narrow topic, because if you will take a broad topic, there'll be a lot to review in terms of literature. You'll find a lot of literature review under that, and there'll be high chances of similar kind of studies already being done. Okay. Then next phase, since you're writing review article, write kind of literature. Okay. Right kind of literature, and then properly written, proper evaluation of literature should be done in order to write the review article. Okay. These are some important steps when we are saying that you need to write the review article. A proper structure should be there, an outline should be there, heading, subheadings. Now here I would like to say something, that many a times the journals give you complete proper guidelines, that your headline should be this or subheading should be this. Many a times they just give you a general structure. So your headings and your subheadings, make sure that your headings and subheadings should be variable based. That's what I believe, or mainly which are aligned with your problem statement. Okay. Abstract should be well prepared, any figures, any tables if there are any. Okay. Introduction, discussion, conclusion. Citations plays a very important role, because I have found that there is some in-text citation written in between the text, but the in-text citation, the referencing for that citation at the last is not there. Vice versa is there, like in-text citation is there, but similar in-text citation in the text is not there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Make sure that once the final version of the study which you think is ready, get it corrected by a supervisor or any senior faculty or any other researcher. Because what happens is, when we are working on a study, we are already exhausted by seeing the same kind of content, same kind of work, so we don't find any faults, or we just overlook the faults. So it's suggestive that you give it to somebody else who, definitely who is reliable, who don't copy your content, but may help you in refining the quality of your work and can help you to incorporate the corrections, and then obviously submit to the journal. Okay. And definitely you may use Mendeley for writing the review, somebody asked also. So you can go for searching the articles. This is the way how you can work on Mendeley. Mendeley helps you to organize the articles also. Then you can actually sort into folders. That's what I was telling you, that how you can organize, how you should organize your literature into various subfolders, folders. And with the help of this, what you can do is you can actually refer back to this article search again and again. Okay. And then it helps you to make your notes and end notes. Your Match, your synthesis match is again, you can back and forth come back. So your research questions, your research objectives, you can come back again and again. So Mendeley basically helps you to organize your literature review in a very, very refined manner. Zotero also gives you the same way. So if anybody is working on the similar way of writing review article, they can take the help of these softwares. Now there are certain steps which should be considered: length of review article, grammar, plagiarism, overall presentation, and credibility. Let's take them one by one. Length of review article, although it is 3,000 to 10,000, but in my opinion, it is primarily, depends upon the journal. Okay. However, for each kind of review, I have written the word count. But for considering, whatever journal you are considering, please consider the word count of that journal. Okay. All right. Then come plagiarism. Somebody asked the question of plagiarism also. Now let me just give you a detailed look on plagiarism. Plagiarism basically, firstly, it can be when you are copying somebody's content and you are not giving them the acknowledgement, you're not giving citing their name, you are rephrasing the content. I mean, you are not copying the content exactly, you are rephrasing the content, but you are still not acknowledging. Okay, then also it is plagiarism. You are copying your own content. Let's say, for example, you have written one paper already, it is published, and you are writing another paper. You need to cite your own paper. But thinking that it's my paper, why need to I cite my own name? It is plagiarism. So, complete copying from anywhere need not to be done. It comes under plagiarism. Rephrasing needs to be done at any cost. Along with rephrasing, referencing is mandatory in order to avoid plagiarism. No matter what, you need to rephrase, and reference should be given. Just the definitions, if there is any definition, and if there is any quote said by anybody, that needs to be stated as it is. Apart from that, any content which you are copying from any place needs to be rephrased and needs to be referenced properly. There are certain software which I have listed here with which you can check your plagiarism. Okay, and plagiarism is a crime in research. So a certain level of plagiarism is allowed. I mean, in dissertation it is less than 5% or so. In research paper, depends upon journal to journal. However, always try that there should be no plagiarism. Okay, because it's quite obvious if you're taking somebody's content, rephrase it, and then give them the credibility or acknowledgement for that. Okay. Now, overall presentation, definitely it is required. I mean, this is the trouble with what happened is generally it is quite funny that we think in some other language, in some other English, we translate in some other English, and then when we write it, it is coming out in some other English. So the overall English, we see, we might be a very good researcher, but we can't claim to be a good researcher unless and until it is coming onto a paper. Are you getting my point, what I'm saying? So if you can't reflect your research on paper in your write-up, so that fluency, so if you're coming from one paragraph to another paragraph, make sure that the ending of the first paragraph gives an indication that yes, next paragraph will be this, right? So that fluency, that cohesiveness, that the entire piece of write up should look like that it belongs to one topic. Okay, words, conjunctions, your overall paper should be in a proper flow. It should look like a one piece of material. Because many a times I have gone through dissertation and papers, it's like, okay, this paragraph is over. All of a sudden, the author is taking me into another altogether different world. Lost, completely lost. That should not happen. Okay? Then connectivity should be there, flow should be there. Connective words, research words, use research terminologies. And for this, read, read. We get to know very easily the author who is well read. Because if you are well read, that reflects into your writing as well. Okay? A naive researcher or a new researcher or an experienced researcher who is well read, their writing style is quite different. And you can be very well experienced if you are reading well, if you are able to show that into your write up. That is reflected if you're reading, that research terminologies should be used quite often. Okay. All right, so that was from my side for today's session. Now we can have the questions for today's webinar. Yes, so yes, Padmakar sir have a question that on what are the aspects we have to review in case of book of authors. So basically, like I told you, all these aspects, depends upon what domain you are talking about. You need to talk about the connectivity of the content, linguistic aspect, fluency, how well the author is well related to the topic of the chapter or the book which he has chosen to be, and how well the author is well connected to the as current, how well the book is fitted to the current aspect of that topic of the book. Okay. All right. Yes, if you wish to reach me out, you may reach me out on the details of the research graduate, which I shared in the starting of this webinar. Okay. 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 Somebody asked that what is indexing? See, basically, indexing is, in simple language, it is a reflection of a journal. Basically, it is like the listing of journal at good places. In simple language, if I say that, it reflects the quality of the journal. So, if the journal is of quality, it will be indexed at good listed places. That's what, in an easy language, I'm making you understand. Okay. I have to write a literature review on breakout ball game. How can I get started? Start reading about it. How long? First of all, start reading about it. You're talking me about the writing. You're asking me about the writing. Start reading about it. How can we search a suitable journal for our review? That depends upon, first of all, the domain on which you need to write. Okay. And then, if you are, see, for example, let me give you a small a tip. Anybody who is new to the research or who is going for a first time publication, or second time publication, or new for the publication, don't go for a very tough journal whose publication process or review process is quite tough. Don't go for that. Okay publication, or okay journal process is okay, right? Okay, source for data, how long it should be answered. Please tell fats, oils, and research. Maple, you need to ask. See, my expertise in oil, fats, and research is quite limited. You need to ask me particular question if you have any. How to access Scopus sources data? You need to. You have various. This is one of your search criteria for your literature, so you can go for that. How do we define research gap? See, the research gap, when you are talking about Mr. Sunil, it comes when it is when your literature is thoroughly reviewed. The literature gap can be defined at any area which is yet not covered completely, or it has not been attempted. For example, particular study is completed in Dubai, and it is not being studied in Delhi, it is a research gap. Let's say one particular variable is studied through one methodology, is it's studied in qualitative way, but it's not studied in quantitative way, it is a research gap. Okay, would you recommend us a review paper as an example? Yes, you may. Okay. Fluency in article, I told you, fluency in article depends upon how well read you are. Fluency in article reflects that how often you are not using the same words, new research terminologies. Okay, if an author is using same kind of words, okay, we'll get to know that the person is short of vocabulary. Okay, as you said, there are, which is around my topic, but only five of them they can be suitable for my writing. What to do? uh if you are going for a literature review for a thesis, right, talking about five of them, if you're talking about writing a systematic review with five of them, number five is less. UGC listed journal for which field? You see these kind of listed journal, the list you may get on Google. The Google is filled with all these details. Yeah, all this. Lalini, the spelling of Alzheimer's is wrong. Okay, publication time for Alzheimer's is, depends upon if it's a good journal. They take their own sweet time, 4 months or 5 months. They take that. How to write a recharge cooler for project? New recharge cooler. I did not get your questions, Muibulul. I did not understand your question, honestly speaking. Thank you, Rupa. Thank you so much. Can you suggest ways to reduce plagiarism percent in scientific writing? Yes, I can. See, you may rephrase your language. Let's say, for example, today's topic is under consideration. Today's topic under consideration is this. Okay, rephrase this. Now, this topic or this area of domain is, now we will replace under consideration, is thought of the, or is considered by many, is talk of the town, kind of this. So rephrasing is the only aspect. Okay, how to write review paper, I discussed all this, is the webinar is about. We discussed that literature develops day by day, then how to point down only few. Now, see, Prakriti, yes, literature developed day by day. It's about focusing on the latest one, like 10 to 12 years. That's what I said. Definitely. Obviously, it's not humanly possible for a researcher to focus each and every aspect, but we suggest you to take 10 to 12 years. We discussed for journal search. So, if you are going for journals, you can go for their website. There is one. When you go for the website of Scopus, for example, I'm telling you for the Scopus, on their website only they give a updated, in fact Scopus only yesterday night only I saw the Scopus list of journals, updated one till January 2023. Okay, you may refer to that. Good, Nalini, that's a spirit, that's a spirit of a good researcher, that the moment you realize your mistake you correct it. I like your spirit. Thank you, Mr. Mustafa. The webinar was about review paper only. Please go back to the recording once you receive it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Are references mentioned in the end up to be used? The narrative literature you may use. Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Mustafa, this thing, the webinar is about this only. Yeah. Okay, what is generally asked interview for PhD? Okay, what we may ask about uh your methodology. Okay, in methodology you may be asked your research design. So Mr. Jha, you may focus on your Saunders onion. There is a Saunders onion. diagram. Study that for your research methodology, your significance of the study, what can be the scope of your study, and why did you choose to study this problem. These three, four questions. Is there any issue if we are using so much of referencing while writing thesis? No, but too many references will add to your plagiarism also. Remember that. But there is no end to it, but don't say that like 500 or 600 like that. Please don't do that. Jitain, ma'am, what is the difference between literature and systematic literature? We discussed traditional and systematic. Please go back to the review, recording. Traditional is wherein we are using basic systematic literature review works on a research protocol, whereas traditional literature review does not. Okay. How fast does the submission of paper to any journal direction, but that journal by the depends upon the journal process. Journal process. I can't say that any. There are journals, like for example, there are a couple of journals in UK or in US which gives you results in 90 days or so, and there are some good journals which gives you not, which not even gives you result in 6 months or so. Depends upon journals also. Okay, so depends upon which journals you are approaching. Yeah. See, every journal, wherever you are approaching, they have their processing time mentioned on their website. So before you approach them or before you consider them for their publication, you can check that. Yes, Sunita, you can publish your literature review. Yes, you can. Definitely. Do we have any other questions? There are many journals, Sunita. It depends upon which area you're working on. There are many journals. Now, see, the questions like which journal we can publish on or where we can publish on depends upon which area you guys are working on, which journal will accept the domain in which you are working on. Every journal, for example, does not publish literature review. Even let's say, for example, if you're working in engineering domain, but every engineering journal will not publish literature review. So you need to look for the journals which publish literature review. Okay. So in management also there are economics, there is HR, there is finance, there is general management. So you need to see accordingly. For example, the learning organization. The learning organization is a Scopus Index journal which go for literature review publication, review based. I'm telling you the name. The learning organization. They publish literature review papers, and it's a Scopus Index paper. Okay. The learning organization international, there are you may see Mr. Jha, and there are other people who are looking for some good journals. Scopus list is out January 2023 on their website. Scopus is there. Okay, is there, so you may check. In fact, when you go there you may check, it's there. Okay. mm, Let me show you if okay, let me share the list with you. Just a second. Um, okay. Here, if you can see this, I'm on the Scopus list. I have just opened this for you. If you just download this list, I, this will give you a Scopus list of January 2023 till all the Scopus listed journal of all the domains. Whichever domain they have listed with Scopus, they'll give you. Okay, so you may download from here. All right. Okay. All right, Sunita, I think I have answered you in the question there, Mr. Jha also. You may see, I've told you the list. So generally, possibly by less than two times. So now you need to go see processing time, the journal processing time, all these things you need to go and check to the journal website. Fine? Yeah. Okay, ma'am, kindly tell me the correct signal heading and writing based on situation. It's been there. It's been there. Systematic review, literature review. We have conducted one webinar. It's there. If not, we can conduct one more on that. Okay, when you are talking about parameters, please make sure the indexing is being checked by you. Indexing, indexing. Because what happened is they claim to be indexed, but they are not. Please check. In a hurry, in a mint. Who is in a hurry? If you are in a hurry, even it is depend what is suitable time allocated to perform a if anybody is in a hurry to publish a paper, see, hurry means if you are in a hurry to even in less time. See, for example, if a journal is publishing your paper, let's say if there are journals in which they publish your paper in 15 days or 20 days or so, but I can't comment on the quality of the journal. That what I say. I can't comment on the quality. Shiny, from which year you should do the literature review? Like last 10 to 12 years related to your topic. Thank you, Nalini. Thank you so much. Thank you. Article from non-index journal can be used. See, yes, Gunji. I mean, see, for publication purpose, we can say that yes, index journal are very important. But when you are doing a literature review, uh, indexing is important, but there are certain articles which are published and they are really good, but they are not published in index journals, so it's okay. Yeah. Yes, there are many journals, Kuldeep, which are free of cost, but they are really difficult to crack on. That's what I was saying, that if you are a new researcher, do not aim for a very, very tough journal. Reason being, I'll tell you, many a times the journal abruptly rejects the paper and it decreases your morale being a new researcher, which is not good. Okay, so be easy on yourself. Okay. Works with P shall be considered as plagiarism. Man, review of literature of the works of P. Though we have mentioned the name, you need Padmakar sir, you need to rephrase it no matter what. Even if you have acknowledged it, you can't just copy. Can a paper on detail on each product of a certain time electronic gadget can be survey? Can a paper on detail of each product of a certain type of see, if you are giving the detail from a published material, it's not a research paper, Nitin. Okay. Scope, what I showed you, Fudo Tecos, it was a website of Scopus. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shah. We will. Basically, we conduct the webinars every alternate Saturday. And I would try that also in whose PhD journey I can contribute to the best of my knowledge. That will be my pleasure. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Um, yeah, see, we have conducted sessions on various aspects of PhD chapter, thesis, finding discussions. Definitely, we have. How to organize all the citations for future references. There are softwares for this. Illusions fades away. I mean, please type your all original names. There are softwares. Please take help of those softwares. We are looking forward topic on how to choose research method. Okay, fine. Research methodology you are focusing on. We will go ahead for that also. Harun, as you have told that we should write introduction to literature review also, but what is the difference between general introduction talks about the introduction about the entire study, in which you are talking about the significance of your study also, in which you are giving a glimpse of the methodology of your study also, in which you are tentatively talking about the findings of your study also. In literature introduction, you are just giving an introduction of the main concepts of your literature, the theoretical aspect of your study. Definitely, Rakima, we'll concentrate on that also. Sometimes new topics have a little number of previous papers. Uh, See, that means yes, you may go ahead with that also, because you can't help it. If your topic is too narrowed, you can't help it. How to identify quickly the authentication of journal? Check the indexing of that paper. Go on the journal website whether it is listed there or not. Quick, crisp. Thank you, thank you. You can connect me, Mr. Jha, on the details which is given on the webinar slides. The number which is there, you can connect me from there. Mean for making how to assess good research paper free of okay, free of cost. How to assess good research paper for, see, there are various Kuldeep, there are various paper available for which you need not to register. Sage Open, if I'm understanding your question right, Sage Open is there. ResearchGate offers you very good papers. Even Scopus paper, they are quite open. There are various papers which are open. JSTORs, there are various papers. For how many papers should I read? I mean, this you may read as many, Shani. This is a question which nobody can answer. Very, very. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vandana. Thank you. Should I put all the citation in my server folder and maintain? Asika, there are instead of doing this, putting on a website. This is one way. There are softwares also available. I'll suggest you to go for the softwares. Sir, depends upon Padmakar sir, depends upon the journal you are considering. Uh, Definitely, good impact factor is always suggestive. Depends upon the domain which you are considering your journal from. Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like for example, you may say that 10 or more than 10 is a good impact factor, but how many are there in your domain which are of this impact factor? So you need to see that. Can you please provide literature review template so that you said you use? Is there any sites that we can look at for that? You see, basically you may look for, when you read literature review, you may find different ways of people writing different literature. Yes, Mustafa. Yes, Mr. Mustafa, you may use. Thank you so much, Padmakar sir. Thank you, Mr. Kuldeep. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It was very nice to connect all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fozia. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to get connected to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's indeed a pleasure to connect to all of you. So, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So, we wish to see all of you in the next series of webinar also. Yes, you will get all the videos, you'll get all the PPTs, you'll get all the certificates in your class, in your registered email ID. All right. Thank you once again from the entire team of Research Graduate. Anybody would like to get in touch, they may get in touch with the mentioned email ID and the mentioned number. And if you wish to take any services from Research Graduation, so please feel free. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Looking forward to meet all of you in the next series of webinar. All right. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.